Hey, welcome everybody to podcast number 68, presented by 5-Pin Universe. I'm your host, Kerry Kreitz. Just want to thank everybody for coming back after we had a week hiatus for Canada Day. Hopefully everybody had a good one and got some bowling practice in and all that good stuff. We have a pretty special guest here. Some accomplishments that not too many people have accomplished, but we'll bring him in here as we thank All-Star again for being our advertising sponsor for this episode, and we do have some giveaways a little bit later, so we'll get Dexter pulling that up later. Just all right. Hey guys, sorry about that. Dexter, spring that on you. I forgot to mention that. We have Adam Weber and Tim and Dexter Wiseman, the regular podcast crew. And our special guest for this podcast is a back-to-back Masters Singles National Champion. He won the Scottsdale Classic back when it was still running and the Heritage Traditional. We have Mr. Aaron Arndt. As everybody knows him, Ron.
Thanks for having me on.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So kind of our first topic will be, Aaron, is how did it feel to win back-to-back Masters singles? Obviously, that's an accomplishment that very few will ever accomplish in the history of the game.
It was surreal, to be honest. The first time, it was more so trying to prove it to myself that I could do it. And the second time was to prove to myself again that it wasn't a fluke, if that makes any sense. But
yeah,
after winning the second one, it really gave me a sense that I belonged up in that tier of the game. It really did. For years, especially leading up to those years, I wasn't consistent enough. I was good in tournaments. I wasn't great. And then I made that leap. And then I'm trying to get back there since. But,
there's
I haven't been to a
us.
national since. But it's been a lot of fun since then.
So everybody kind of, as the theme of our podcast has kind of gone, they've known that getting out of Alberta has been super tough, just like it's super tough out of Ontario and some of the bigger provinces that have a lot of competitive players in them. We're just you to make it back-to-back out of Alberta and to make it for the Masters Nationals. Like, we know Tim has done it, but unfortunately bringing home the gold is a little tough. Maybe you could give Tim some pointers on what he needs to do to get out of that silver place, or
teach him how to close.
To be honest with you, I looked at the field every time he was there, and it was a little bit weaker. So I had my work cut out for me for sure. So a little bit different.
Sorry, Tim. That was just a jab at you.
I didn't notice. Yeah.
Funny fact about 2014, Jeff Bourne had the highest average for the singles, and he was dead last. And he had the highest average easily by, I believe, at least 10 points. So, you know what, Tim, just bowl better, honestly.
Yeah. We actually, Kerry and I knew that because one of our coaches told us in the middle of our game that that was a fact.
You only had one coach.
Yeah.
Don't act like you had multiple. One of your coach. Then
promptly the Mark Miller incident happened. So maybe we all focused at that moment. We would have maybe won that 1 point, but it definitely honestly winning back to back there. If you ever look back at the Masters singles, it's always super tight. And, Adam competing there, it's very rarely is it a runaway to get the first seed, and very rarely is it a runaway to get second or third, right? So for you and back to back, it's definitely an amazing feat, and nobody's ever done it, right? So definitely have to be proud about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the toughest thing was just, the competition's great no matter what. I mean, every province, they're the champions of the province for a reason, right? They're competitors and they're there to win. But I thought each time, just get to the step ladder, because anything can happen there. I believe in 2013 I was second, and in 2014 it was I broke a tiebreaker actually to get the third spot to make the step ladder. But just make the step ladder. Anything can happen in there, especially when it's a 3-game match, best 2 out of 3, right? I remember a funny story. I believe it was we were in the middle of the second game, and I think the Ontario guys and the Alberta guys were playing push in the back. And I don't know who cheered loudly, but they let off a roar after they won that game. And it was right in the middle of Connor Dorian throwing.
Does his name rhyme with Rich Ravies?
I think it might actually. Is there someone in bowling named Mitch?
Yeah.
If Mitch was a Scooby-Doo character, I guess.
All I know is that we were asked to leave. Yes, I remember that.
You couldn't ask for a better amphitheater to yell in, though. That was a giant theater.
We were upstairs at the academy, and then we couldn't watch you in your goal because we were all downstairs. Yeah,
it was a good time.
Yes, it was.
It was awesome.
Sorry, go ahead, Tim.
No, that was it. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, Aaron, you brought up a really good point. I know a lot of people who do have the opportunity to win a tournament. It's always that second one that you really feel that it's the biggest struggle to go do it again, because you're really trying to prove something more to yourself than anybody else, that you do physically belong at that level. And for you to go back to back at a Masters national singles level just shows just how accomplished that feat is. And quite frankly, we may never see that again. Like we've only seen it once at this point. And, somebody can get hot, and there will be high averages, but you still have to win those matches, right? So it's very, very difficult, and really, really proud to see that from yourself, especially from the Calgary crew, right?
Yeah, definitely. And thanks for that, Adam. It's it really, like I mentioned before, it really gave me the sense that I was there, I belonged, and. I saw Brett Hendrickson's comment there about actually having a good beard. I was disappointed to see Wilton shave his off. He had quite the ginger beard.
I hope he never does that again. I don't think I've slept since he did that. That image is burned into my head.
But yeah, I don't know if it'll happen again. There are so many great shooters out there. There really are, and there have been women that have won the back-to-back for Masters before. I know that, because to be honest, I looked at the plaque after I did it. I wanted to know, right? I mean, pretty sure you guys would want to know the same type of thing, right? I mean. Yep. Right.
Well, yeah, like Jim had just commented that Sandy Horton did it for the ladies back in 94, 95.
Yep.
Still, unreal feat to hear on the ladies' side and the men's side. As we know, back in the day, there was quite a few dominant players like Fraser Hamley, Bruce Mortar, Mark Jackson, even Gino in his prime never even happened to go play Alberta singles rep. So in order to accomplish that, you obviously had to have quite the things fall together at the same time and play extremely well, right?
Mm-hmm. It was almost not a no-go for 2014. I believe the last tournament at Heritage, going up into my ninth frame, I believe Schultz had finished, and it was believed that Schultz had won. Lynn Howell actually had shook his hand, and then I went up and still finished my game and ended up getting the pinfall and getting singles that way. It just goes to show how close it is, and especially in recent years with the ties that have happened in singles and the amount of great bowling that has happened lately on both the men and the women's side in Alberta. I mean, the scores have been amazing. And the fact that we're still getting rookies every single year, that's what I like to see. I mean, if I'm not making it, I want to see rookies make it, because we all know how great Masters is. And to make it out of Alberta as a rookie and to go with the guys, and Dexter will agree with me. I mean, that was the worst part about losing nationals this year was guys like Bobby and Rob, like they got it out, they made it, and they won't be able to experience it in their first year, unfortunately. But I mean, they're gonna make it back. They're too competitive not to, and I just hope I'm up there next time. I'd like to get back. I want to go for that. I want to go for that third one. I really do.
Yeah, not if we're playing, but that's okay.
Yeah, we just
thank you. You're off then.
Somebody's got to beat Tim so we have a chance at winning.
Alberta, you mean?
Yeah.
Here's the thing: if you guys let me win a gold for once, I'll retire. That's what Adam said.
Yeah,
that's what Adam said, and then he went on a win streak. So let me just say that, okay?
Thanks for ensuring that we're going to have you around forever.
No,
you're welcome. I actually had a chance to speak with Wolfson here this afternoon, and we were talking a little bit about Red Deer and coming up in 3-4 weeks, and he says he's really motivated to go just because he feels like the season isn't finished, because he had his heart set on going to Masters last week. So he's really wanting to go.
Yeah. And he's had a nice breakthrough year with the tour and stuff too. And he's had a phenomenal year. And it's heartbreaking that he had to miss it. That was one of the hardest phone calls I've had to make. That's for sure. And of course he was insisting on a Zoom one, so I couldn't even hide behind him. Face to face. What's going on, man? Oh, man, this is not a fun conversation.
So, do you guys kind of have the same feeling, not having competed for nationals this year, with Heritage being such a late portion of the WCBT, being late in the summer and stuff like that? Do you get the same feeling that it's your national maybe to finish off that section of bowling, and then hopefully in September everything starts up, or do you feel it's a start to a new season, even though it's a broken piece?
You honestly, winky face. Yeah, I got you, Adam. To be honest, I just think that it's whatever to me. I think it's a lost season right now. I just feel like I'm having a hard time being motivated for it, right? And I think I'm excited to just go out and see the people. And I just think that it's going to be good to see everybody. But I have really no expectations towards it. I just think it's going to be good to go out. I want to throw some balls here shortly, I think, maybe in 3 weeks. And
so just so everybody knows, that's what Tim says before every Masters tournament, and then he wipes the floor with us. So
yeah, but that hasn't worked out in WCBT.
No, that's true.
But I it's just tough, right?
The points.
There's just a lot of stuff it's just been really weird. I mean, 3 months off because of COVID, a lot of other things on the go with everybody's life, and then it's tough staying motivated with it, right? So I just think that I think it'll be fine once everybody gets there. It's just a matter of getting into a center and throwing balls, just getting there. So I think that's the thing.
I completely disagree with everything you just said.
That's cool.
No, I'm actually a little bit motivated. I don't know. I'm actually excited to go throw some balls. I'm excited to be competitive again. it's been a long break, and honestly, in 3 years I have not had a break in the summer between like Open Nationals or Masters Nationals or Tour Finals. Having Masters Nationals and Tour Finals every year the last 3 years has made it so that there hasn't been a break, right? So to have a 3-month break or whatever it is now, 3-month, 4-month, whatever it is, I'm actually excited to go, and I practice. Well, not practice. I do the COVID like drop-in tournament just to throw some balls so they're meaningful and whatever. But I'm enjoying it. I'm motivated to do it, and I want to do well in Red Deer. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody, but I certainly want to make sure that I keep Weber below me in the 5-pin universe rankings.
Well, at least you got something on the mind. The 5-pin universe rankings are clearly the most in-depth ranking system there is. So
absolutely,
I just think it's bullshit that he ends up getting all this extra time thanks to COVID.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
all these
first
extra
overall,
days on top, eh?
Crushing it right now.
Last time I missed a tournament. I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm in like the middle of 2 seasons. Like I don't feel like last season was closed off, but I'm also not motivated for a new season. So I'm trying to find motivation to really go out there and throw competitive balls. I think is going to be difficult. I think once you're in the moment, I think it'll be a hell of a lot of fun, right? That's exactly what we all want to do. We want to compete at the highest levels. So I'm really looking forward to the competition side of it. I'm also interested to see how it all kind of plays out with, the whole COVID issue with the lanes as well. So I really can't wait, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Hey guys, I've been doing this for years. Welcome to my game now. I've had summers off for 5 years. This is a new season. This is a new season coming up for me. That's how I'm looking at it. No, same things you guys are saying. I'm looking forward to it. I really am. It sucks that we can't do the Bakers or the doubles, but it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm mostly looking just to close out the season. I think is mostly the way I'm looking at it, because being part of the WCBT and the board and stuff, like we're still planning filming and everything for the Tour Championship at the new location at Sherwood and stuff like that. And then we don't even have a set roster yet because the Heritage Traditional is still planning on hosting their event, and there's lots of members that can gain a lot of points there still. So it's kind of tough, especially for some of the Ontario guys and some of the guys out of the Alberta province that are sitting in the top 12. And now they got to look, do I book time off at the end of August to make it Tour Championship if I'm not planning on the Heritage Traditional? Because I may lose my spot. I may drop out. Like, not only is it Heritage is planning all the safety measures, all the health measures, and we're making sure that we're meeting all the regulations and making sure everybody's health and safety is number one priority. But now you got to weigh that, and you got to weigh the financial burden and the time off and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Especially when everybody else had financial burden for those 3 months, some of them, right? So, yeah.
Well, what are you expecting for numbers?
For
numbers?
We haven't seen an official list now. Now that they've opened up their online registration for the new 6 shifts at 40 max per shift. I'm not too sure. I haven't heard a hard set number yet on how it's looking. But so for people listening, if you haven't done that yet and you are planning showing up to the Heritage Traditional, you're allowed to sign up for 3 separate shifts. They are 6 total shifts. They start on, I do believe, Thursday. They have 1 on Thursday, 3 on Friday, and 2 on Saturday. So if you haven't signed up for those, sign up for those as soon as you can to make sure at least you have your spot reserved.
Yeah, because they need to obviously know what's coming in too, right? Because if they have a shift maybe that's less, like a Thursday, is it worth it them to running something, right? They got to have something going on with that, and then obviously for those that like to gamble, right? We need to have something to gamble on. So for our fantasy. So if you guys can kindly send that in for us to have that too.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good point too, Tim. Just, I mean, right now, obviously, everybody knows that this is a huge financial burden on all bowling alleys with everything that's going on. So do please register as early as you can, because that gives them a rough idea of what they're going to need for staffing. And again, whether a shift is viable at all. So at least if you do enter in early when you do know, maybe that gives them an opportunity to make proper business choices for that week, because it's already a financial burden, right? So please get them in as soon as you can.
Yeah, let's you're already doing us a favor. Let's help them out too, right? So
yeah, they're sacrificing this potential financial gain for this weekend just to continue the WCBT and continue that side of the sport. Like, that's such a gift from such a well-run center that, like, let's face it, it's such a big center and being shut down for all those months. It's amazing that a place like that can stay open. And Sherwood Bowl, the same situation. You guys are dependent on that open play during the summer months, and when that's taken away, and then you're planning on giving away a weekend plus a couple days for a tournament that you may not gain a lot of money on, that's something else. And we can't thank Shelby and Mike and those guys at Heritage Traditional just offering that again.
How are they going to deal with walk-in for walk-in traffic, either for the tournament, or there's always people who just kind of walk in without putting an entry in. Obviously, they're just going to have to kind of keep them to the side until we know numbers of a shift, or.
Yeah, I would think so. Like, the shift is still capped, right? So if you do have walk-ins and the shift is maximum, you have to turn them away. They can't even stay in the building, from my understanding, at this point in time, unless phase 3 shows up and then the regulations change, right?
See, Kerry, we received an email through BizConnect to another bowling center in Alberta, and I don't know if that's necessarily the case.
Oh, really?
So, from my understanding, so when we got initial email from Grady for stage 2 opening up, they told us a 50-person maximum, but based on the email that came from BizConnect from the Alberta government, that is actually not the case. The 50-person maximum is for your sporting cohort family, right, but not so much as a business. So as a business, there is actually no capacity on having people in there as long as they social distance between the people that need to social distance. So it is possible that they'll be able to be in there, and if you're part of your cohort family, you could sit in the back and have drinks together or whatever. I don't know how they're running their center, but from my understanding through BizConnect, I think that's okay.
That might be some information we should be sharing across the province here, because not everybody's utilizing that avenue, right? Of finding out.
Shelby should be aware, because I believe he was in that email chain with Bowl Alberta. So
and Dave Kist,
yeah. So yeah.
So at least we're sharing that here on this podcast, but if people wouldn't mind trying to share that on social media and letting these centers know that might be closing their lounges and not utilizing that space if they didn't know they could, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, the cohort thing is interesting. We just had our slow pitch season start up, and you're only allowed in one cohort, one league at a time right now. So if you wanted to play in another league, you can't. You're not supposed to. You're only supposed to play in that one cohort because it has 50 total people.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting when phase 3 comes in, if there's multiple people bowling in multiple leagues. They can probably only choose one league, right?
Well, but
phase 2 still stays.
But here's the thing, right? So we were talking about this. How do you know if you're playing a different center? And the other thing is too, how do you know, Aaron, that you could be playing ball hockey and bowling, and that's two different sports. That is, you have no idea, right? So at the end of the day, it's going to be on people who's honest about things like that.
Yep.
So I really think that it's going to be on honesty, and I don't think obviously it's all speculation. I really think phase 3 is going to be opening up when Rogers opens up, right? But I think they're going to maybe open up restrictions more in phase 2. I think that's what's basically what could happen, right? So phase 2 could be maybe 100 people, or maybe cohorts could be a bigger number, right? And then maybe you don't have to have just the one cohort. You could have 2 cohorts or whatever else could be with it, right? It's going to be crazy. I just think that I heard through one of our politicians out here when I was speaking with him when we made that video. And of course, things change. Obviously, Mr. Cordia had an issue this week, right? And things do change. But he said the government was thinking about opening up more things, or opening things up September 1st. Now, but they were also thinking about maybe if things were going well, they could push it up August 1st, right? So up earlier in August. So if that's the case, August 1st would look real good for all of us, right? Because one thing is this would help out with the heritage, and the second thing is it would help out with our leagues, because then that would be making it a lot easier for everybody else, right? If they said, hey, you guys, you can have as many leagues as you want, 100 people for us, then we're laughing on a personal level for us. But if you're looking at Bonnie Doon, you're still going to be in a real tough situation. They're like, I know at least out in Edmonton, we're all talking to each other, but it's a tough situation. Like, I don't know how everybody's going to be working with it, right? So, yeah, I don't know.
Well, you got it's affecting every sport, that's for sure. And best case scenario, we do have the full leagues again by September, and that's all we can hope for, and that's what you can plan for. Like, we're planning the Masters tournaments, and we're planning our other associations are planning their tournaments as they're going to happen, and they're going to happen normally, and that's really all you can do right now. Plan for the best, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we're even talking about maybe having to do split shifts if for like some leagues. If we have to do a split shift, we might have to do a split shift, right?
Our Thursday night league.
Yeah. If it's 50 people, we might have to do that.
Yeah,
or at least for a portion of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even if we split the league in half, let's say, so we have like an 8-lane, or so eight teams and 8 teams, and then we could still use, if we do that, then that would keep the cohort to 40. Then we could use all 16 lanes, and they would go quick. We can get through those each, but then we would have to hope that by the time that 7-week period is up, that we can just run the leagues as normal, so they can go back into a rotation and face the teams as proper. So there's a lot of things we can think about to try to do.
So this may draw a little controversy, and people listening and stuff, if you want to add your comments to it, I'll put it up on the screen. I'm fine with it. But don't you guys find it a little, I don't know, the leagues, or like Aaron brought up slow pitch and stuff that's organized and has registration listings and is producing safety procedures for their leagues and all this information and taking care of who's in their registration is totally restricted, but yet a business like you guys could be wide open, and you could have 240 random people walk through your doors throughout the day, and you have no clue who they're in contact with, what they're doing, what their safety procedures are.
You're right, but it is different. So the reason for that 50-person cohort is so that you don't have to socially distance with them.
Right.
So that's the great thing about the softballs tonight. You could tag, you could do all that stuff because that 50-person cohort is there. You can be within those people. Whereas, we have 200 people walk in through a day. That's fine, but we keep them away from all the other groups, so they are not in contact with any of them. And then we clean everything before they leave. So even if they are in contact with stuff, there's nothing left after they leave. But the biggest thing is that those people stay away from the other people, whereas the 50-person cohort, you don't have to.
Agreed. But what I'm saying is, you have that 50-person cohort or whatever. All these people, you could have 100 people in your league. They're registered. If you have a COVID case, you can contact 100 registered people and let them know.
Yeah.
Where a business, if somebody goes into the washroom, has COVID, you go into the washroom after them, because as hard as everybody can try, that washroom is not being cleaned after every single person. And you don't know if that person is properly sanitizing. You can't contact everybody that's been in that business.
So there's a few things that happen when you reopen for stage 2, and there's like a giant list of things that are recommended, and there's a giant list of things that are required. And one of the things that is required is a rapid response approach to what happens if somebody that was in the facility is diagnosed with COVID. So for us, what we do is every single group that comes in gets put into our reservation system. So there's every person that comes in, name, phone number, whether they booked before or if they walk in, then we take their name and phone number then and put it in so that we can contact every group that was in that place during that time period. So,
but you're also relying on them notifying you that they've become contagious.
Well, I suppose that's true, but I guess that's where the tracing is. When they are tested positive, then AHS contacts them, and then they contact everywhere that they have been. So,
right.
Yeah.
But you're seeing where I'm saying, like, this is a registered system. It is guaranteed. You can contact every person registered in that slow pitch league, or like, it's just, to me, it makes a lot more sense. It's a lot more self-contained. It doesn't, obviously, the more people, the more chances of that situation happening, but it's a lot more structured and a lot easier to maintain that safety and that structure than it is in a wide open business.
Right. And how long is the incubation period? It's like 4 days or something, right? So, I mean, if you're doing slow pitch and you're seeing them once a week, by the time that you're there the week after, half your team is going to be sick if you were in contact with somebody, right? So that week time period should be enough to tell that, like, hey, like, things are okay. So, I see what you're saying for sure.
I understand they got to come up with some type of regulation. It just seems that structured stuff seems like it's more on the wayside than making sure businesses are just open so they can stay afloat, which obviously I'm all for, because my business relies on businesses being open. But it's just I hate seeing it, as a person that's in a lot of sports, seeing such restrictions just holding them back. And there's been no proof or no backing to that slow pitch leagues are causing COVID transfer, right?
There hasn't been a slow pitch league, so
there's been 4 weeks of it.
Oh, is it 4 weeks for you guys already? Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
we just finished our 4th week yesterday.
Yeah, there are certain areas that were able to register earlier. That's for sure.
So I don't know. Just some food for thought, and
we might have regulations coming. Cities are now starting to put in the mandatory masks everywhere. Calgary's thinking about it. That was just posted today. So
that makes total sense. I don't understand why that wasn't the first thing that came out. Just mandatory masks in public spaces.
Yeah, I saw this article of 2 hairdressers and somewhere in the States that they opened up. They saw 140 customers, but they wore masks, and the customers all were required to wear masks. They saw 140 customers in like the first week, and they both tested positive for COVID, and not a single person that came in tested positive after. They saw 140 people. So I guess that's proof there, saying that masks work. But yeah, it'd be tough. Like, I'm fat, right? So me like me running in slow pitch already gets me winded. So me running with a mask at slow pitch, look out! I'm puking into that bad boy.
Must be a
You
pretty
didn't roll
good
your
roller.
ankle this time.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Oh, man. All right, so we'll move on to more bowling topics. I know Tim's sitting there grinding his teeth and not wanting to say anything because he got yelled at last time he said something. So let's go. Aaron, how did it feel winning the Heritage Traditional? I know the cash circuit, you've been playing most of your career on it.
Mm-hmm. It felt great to beat Tweedy in the final, that's for sure. And then that asshole put a shitty picture of me up there on there. If you guys remember, it was the Green Hulk picture that he had up there for, I think he left it up there for 4 years just to spite me.
Is the picture up there any better?
No. I have what they call a radio face.
I'm glad we're doing a video podcast.
I know, right?
All 5 of us, buddy.
Yeah.
No, it felt great. And then the year after was actually one of my lowest moments in bowling because I put too much pressure on myself to try to win again. And that was the last time that I hit anything in a bowling alley. That's when I pretty much broke my knuckle on that wood right at the top of the lanes after the steps. Yep. That was the last time I hit anything. So I recommend don't do that, guys. Don't do that.
Mitch Davis, you watching?
A lot of people have hit that backboard at Heritage.
Yeah,
I seen a couple famous legendary players that everybody thinks does no wrong wail into that. So it's taken some abuse and it's held up the whole time. And now I think they put tables, some extra bigger tables with some legs on them, so there's extra support. So you won't be knocking those over anytime soon. So
that's good.
That was actually one of the questions I was going to have for you, Aaron. Is you definitely had some pretty amazing successes, but you've definitely had some low moments. And are you wearing a Miss the Cut shirt right now?
No.
No, which one's that one?
It's the Sherrod one from a few years ago, TPC one.
Oh, okay. But how have you been able to, I guess, adapt with all those super highs and super lows?
Hit or miss, to be honest. Lately, more getting my mind better, reading more about the mental side of the game. Honestly, trying to get more consistent and through varying points and trying to find a perfect way to improve not just my physical game, but the mental side of it as well. It hasn't been easy, don't get me wrong, because part of my success is because I've had that emotion to bring myself up in those moments. But it's been more so trying to figure out the right time for those emotions. And this past year, with more practice as well, and getting the Edmonton Open off my back, getting rid of a few years of never having the singles in the Open. I hadn't been a single in the Open before, and unfortunately that continued. I still haven't gotten Open provincial singles yet, but it's tough. I mean, you guys know it's not easy riding. It's not easy to be consistently great in our game all the time. You're gonna have moments where you don't make a team, you don't make provincials, you don't make the cut. I have 2 Miss the Cut shirts. Actually, I have the original one and I have the new blue one from the WCBT, and both of them have been used quite a bit. But the past few years, my Miss the Cuts have been in the 40 range instead of in the 80 to 90 to 100 range, right, in the standings. So it's been, I wouldn't trade it at all because I have success because of it, but it's more so continuing the success going forward and learning from my past mistakes, to be honest. I mean, it's a bit of a jumbled answer there, but I don't have a firm answer on it. I'm still learning how to stay up there consistently for years.
I got to think it's super difficult to be consistent. Most of the players on tour are going to find that roller coaster effect. A few guys are definitely out there, getting the top 10, top 12s or whatever, pretty consistent. But they're dime a dozen. Like, there's not very many, right? So for you to be able to at least kind of bring those real lows into like a top 40, top 50 as like the worst type of event for you, it shows how much you've already grown. And I know we've had a few conversations over the years, and being able to just kind of almost find like a center point, right, and not get too high, not get too low, because that's one thing that I've definitely seen with yourself is when you are going really hard, you get really loud, you get really into it, and then all of a sudden you start to kind of lose your game because you're not focused on your game, right? So to find that center point, but that you'll keep that consistency, I believe.
Yeah, I totally agree, Adam. Not eliminating, but like limiting your ultra lows is so important, because the second you get there, it's impossible to get out, right? And playing at that consistent energy level, that is something that they talked about a lot at bowling school, and I don't know how many people took it really seriously, but I think that especially in the singles game, I think getting to that like consistent sort of energy level where you're playing at your optimum, but you're not getting too high and too low is so critical, because it just carries you through and you can maintain the same sort of mindset a little bit easier. I think it's way easier to not worry about the energy level as much with the team, because, if you're a little bit lower on the energy, well, the rest of your team will usually generally pick it up. You start gain some momentum from them, but there's none of that in singles. So it's all about, to me, it's all about maintaining that kind of zen sort of comfort level for energy. You don't want to be like bored and lazy. You want to be into your shot, but you don't want to get over the top as well, right?
Mm-hmm. You got to keep emotion as part of your game, but just kind of, I think, limiting going excessive.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
We do have a question here from the chat. Kathy's asking you, Aaron, what would you say to someone up and coming that doesn't have a win yet?
Well, Kathy, I would say that you got to put the time in, no matter what, no matter how many second places, third places, fourth places you may have right now. You continue grinding through, because there's so many events through this year, and there are so many new winners that happen all the time, especially on the tour. Like, guys, it's so rare to see someone win back to back or even 3 in 1 year. Anyone can win on any day. You make the cut. Make the cut is the key. And if you are starting out and it's your first tournament and you're trying to get used to it, you know what? Shoot for the cut. Get into it. Get used to it. If you won't know how good you are until you actually get into the big tournaments as well. There are many people that, for example, league average of 230, but they'll come to a tournament and play with the bigger guys, and they'll average 260, 270 and surprise themselves, make a cut. I mean, you never know. We see that a lot, guys, where a guy can get hot on a Sunday and make it to one of the A or B finals. May not win, but you get that valuable experience to carry through to the next tournament. And it's experience. And you grind through the losses, and you grind through the close losses in the final, that kind of thing. And I mean, it's very rare where someone comes in and wins right away. I know you guys can agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people don't know this, but Aaron was a late bloomer, right? So Aaron started really getting into the scene when he was second last year YBC. He wasn't like he was well known coming up through the ranks. Not maybe well known out there, and kind of hidden gems out there. You could put the work in there, and obviously Aaron's one of those guys that you guys can look up to in that aspect, where you guys can see, hey, you know what, it's never too late for you guys to find your groove and find your niche in the sport, right? So right? Because Aaron showed up and he kind of came out like out of nowhere, right? You challenged national team there and single the same year, so remember that.
Yeah. Everybody's got to remember you're going to take a lot of lumps learning the game and getting to where you need to make your first win or that situation. And it's tough not to get discouraged, and that was always kind of the thing Gino always preached. Don't get discouraged. Keep practicing, keep playing with the best, and you'll figure it out. It just takes a matter of time.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be deterred by losses, because you're going to have way, way more losses than you are going to have wins, right? Mm-hmm. So just keep grinding through.
We have our podcast jokester here just chiming in. I want Tim to read this out because it was more directed towards him.
I don't know who Brett is.
Okay, well, we'll just avoid it then.
I think he runs a meme page or something.
I actually thought Brett had ball today, so Brett, I thought he had something going on, so get lost.
We got rained out. Some rain going.
Well, I got a really a good question, I think, but I want you guys to be really honest. So going into a cash tournament, at the end of that particular cash tournament, what finish would you guys consider that cash tournament to be a success?
Now or
in current game?
So I'll answer first. So for me to consider the cash tournament to be a success at this point in my career would be probably making the 16s at the Autumn Open or the 16 round at the TPC Regina and make it through after the first round at the Heritage. Halfway through the Sunday is a big deal. And when the field's that much smaller, Autumn Open's prime example. I don't know if we're going to be doing this so much anymore, but you go around and you shake every guy's hand in the top 16 or every lady's hand in the top 16. That's such a big deal. When it was early in my career, it was obviously the cut. Once you made the cut, that made your weekend, the whole reason you were there for it, right? But yeah, I would definitely say halfway through the Sunday is a big deal. And I think that makes my weekend. Obviously winning would be the hugest part, but being confident after making it halfway through Sunday, that's good for me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're obviously all out there playing to win. And I think every time that you don't win, which is pretty much almost always, there's still always little things that you look back on and you're like, hey, I wish I did this better. I wish I did that better. There's always a little level of disappointment. But right now, I'm going to say I think my goal is almost always top 8. I want to shoot for top 8. I like the feel of especially the TPC or Regina when all of a sudden you're only using half the house. I like that, having that separation in between. It's just a different feeling. I'm shooting for top 8. I think I'm happy if I'm in the top 8 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think top 8, yes. Only reason being is I think I play enough 16s in Calgary that I think being 13 to 16 is really a waste of my time. it's really wasting your time because it's like, whoop-de-doo, I made another $30 or $40 coming in 16, and I just pulled another 15 games.
Well, it's a grind. When you're in the bottom of that and you have 5 games left, I mean, you can move up a little, but it's a grind at that point.
It's really, I hate my life. Why did I bowl so bad? And I make another $50. Okay, so top 8, and I think 8. It's a great number. And to be honest with you, if you actually look at my record, in the 3-game match plays, I've probably only made the top 8s maybe 4 times. Right. And I just think that I think the 16s we've made the 16s enough. I just think the 8s are good. Money's there. You made some money. You can go back with it. eights, you really have have that feeling you can win it, right? I think you have that kind of feeling that it's you have that kind of that you're not one of the 32 bowlers. You have that feeling that you actually have a chance, and even though you have that feeling when you make the 32s, but when you make the eights, you're rolling. You have that good feeling, and you kind of have that mojo going. There's no flukes. You just have that good thing going, and then I just think that that you have that opportunity to win, right? And I just think that it has a different feeling to it. So
yeah. Before Aaron answers here, I just kind of want to clarify: everybody's goal is to win the tournament. There is no, but to make the weekend a successful weekend is what we're discussing. It's not everybody's goal is to win the whole tournament.
Yeah.
If you're not first, you're last, right?
No.
You're second. It's clearly you're second.
There's second, there's third. Winning the Calcutta. That's
I don't, we don't know.
Whoa, 5-pin universe doesn't condone.
No idea what you're talking about, sir. Next question.
I'd have to go with Kerry right now. It would be 16s, a couple matches on a Sunday with the 3-game matches. Getting those 9 a.m., those 10 a.m. matches out of the way, and then getting in a groove after that. Sometimes you're on one side and you get the 1 hour break after your back-to-back matches. That usually works out. That's worked out pretty well for me in the past because I usually only win 1 out of 2 matches, so I get that break. But 16s gets me on a roll, gets me going for the rest of the tournament, gets me through, gets me awake on the Sunday morning sometimes, and keep it rolling from there.
No, I like the variance of answers. I'm actually kind of surprised Tim went to 8s. I kind of had Tim with like 16s as well. I'm actually really disappointed in Dexter's answer because where you're at right now in the game, I would expect nothing less than like top 4. Where you're playing right now, where your mentality should be right now, because that's the same mentality I've got right now. Like I would probably be acceptable top 8, top 16, right? A bad, like you make a cut, okay, fine, making some money, that's still success. But right now where you're at, I'm shocked you didn't go like top 4, top 5.
Yeah, I mean, like Kerry said, my goal is to obviously go out and win. Eights I'm content with, but yeah, I appreciate that. I guess it's all like how you view yourself, I guess, at points. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think it's just the way you look back at the weekend, because I think when you're knocked out in the 16s or the 8s or even the 4s, you're not happy about it because you were there, you had the feeling, you feel obviously you have a chance to win the whole thing. But looking back at the weekend on the way home, traveling home, or the next day, you can look back at it and be like, you know what, I made it to the 8s, or I made it 16s. It paid for my whole weekend. I got some side money. Like, I think that's in the moment is always going to be rough. It doesn't matter unless you win the thing. You're always going to be upset with it.
I view it 2 totally different ways. Okay, so Calgary Red Deer, I view totally different than TPC and Regina, right? Because you have two different events, right? So Calgary, you come out, you make the 16s. Your Kerry's totally right. You have that good feeling. You make the 16s. It's like this big thing. You make the 16s, right? I know Don Sims on there. Don can totally agree on that aspect, right? And you kind of have that good feeling. Again, maybe unless you're 16th, I've been 15th before. It's not a lot of fun. So, but then you play Heritage, and maybe if you make the 16s and stuff like that, it's a little bit different. But there's a difference between you didn't make the next round and this maybe made from you're bowling the 16s, you didn't make the 8s, but you didn't win your matches, you didn't play very well, you're just over, right? But when you go and you play the TPC or Regina and you shoot like an 880 to a 900 and you lose that match, you got a bad taste in your mouth, maybe because you missed a corner or have a bad or the fact is you got absolutely maybe annihilated 1,000 to a 600 or something like that, right? Or yeah. Hey. You know what, Rob? Thank you, Robbie. Robbie, I got Robbie's 30-second spot one year, so I do thank him for that. But but you do have that those bad beats. I mean, like when I remember, I tell this story fondly because it was me and Dex. I think Dex and I only played one time head to head on a 3-game match. It was at Collingwood, and I think we're on 11-12 twice.
You're wrong.
Twice.
Yeah. I absolutely annihilated you in Sherwood one year.
But anyways, we're playing like so we're playing on, I think it was 9-10 or 11-12 at Collingwood, and he was he started like 7-bagger last game, and then I shook his hand in after or 6-bagger or something. I shook his hand in 7 after he hung a corner, and then because he couldn't win the 400 pot or high single pot, and everybody's like, well, why would he shake his hand? He's like, he has like 960 against me. I didn't want to break 1,000. Like, and I had nothing. Like I was just being courteous about the 400, right? So, right. So it was. But was I upset about that match? No, he was absolutely just trampling me, right? And then, but I'd be more upset on the other thing. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Mike, about that. Yeah, but those two events are totally different than the other two events. I think if you absolutely had lost a close match, I'd be more sour tasting, leaving the event, right? So yeah.
And to clarify a little bit, Adam, I don't mean being in the 8s. I mean top 8 for bowlers. That is a little bit different. Because in the 8s you could have 16 different people. I like to make. Well, I'm happy if I'm in the top 8 or so people. And you're right. I do view those tournaments totally different, but I still think the 16 number is too low, because even if like for Autumn Open, the 16 number is making the finals. For TPC or Regina, making it to the 16s means you just didn't go bang bang, and I am not shooting to win one match, so I definitely think that 16 number is definitely low.
Yeah. Kathy, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Kathy, it's worse winning against him. Trust me.
Yeah, hear about it later.
He won't talk to me. He won't talk to me during the match. He won't talk to me after. I don't even know if he shakes my hand. He just leaves. Goes back to work.
So that's win-win.
Hey, true. True.
Alrighty. So we do have a special guest questions here for you, Aaron. I don't recall the questions. I feel bad about it because Adam has a couple topics he wants to hit on here, but I'm going to still make him do half the work. So Adam, you want to lead it off here?
No worries. All right, and who was your bowling idol or mentor growing up?
My dad was my mentor in pretty much every sport. He coached me in football and soccer and baseball growing up, and in bowling too. He got me into that. And then it sort of transitioned to a bit to Gino, actually. I met Gino when I would have been about 12 or 13. One of the summers I was visiting my cousins up in Wetaskiwin, and it was at the Lanes, and I was playing the jackpot bowling at the time, and Gallagher flipped it on to only get $100 every time it was a strike. So I managed to take $200 off of him, and that's how I met Gino. And because Robert was complaining to Gino about this young buck that just took $200 off. So it morphed into Gino for a bit there, and then growing up in the YBC community, I didn't know, like Tim said, I was a late bloomer. I didn't know anyone. So honestly, I looked up to my competitors in the zone. I looked up to Brad Wilton. I looked up to David Sanderson as well, because Sanderson was winning everything in Calgary at the time. It was easy to look up to guys like that when I was only averaging maybe 190, I think, my first year as senior. So.
No, I like it. Little David Sanderson.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. No. I love the kid. Trust me. What was your favorite event, tour or nationally?
Oh, I love the Heritage Tournament. I really do. The center, the staff, the location, the time of the year. It's not just because I've won it before. I've always loved it. And favorite nationals would have to be with the 2011 nationals. Even though our men's team didn't win, I still got to. I was the youngest on the team by far, and I still got to bowl with Bruce Mortar and Gino, and Mikey, and Ian Dobie as well. So that was, even though we didn't play well, it was still a great experience. That's, besides the wins, that's my favorite national.
Excellent. Do you recall kind of your best or toughest match?
It has to be 2014 Nationals against Connor Dorian. When I had to throw that 4-bagger 7-10 to win in the last game after we both traded 300s to one. I think I threw 160 and I think he threw a 180 the first game. So we won matches back and forth, and it was the only time that I beat him the entire week as well, because he swept me in the round robin. Mm-hmm. So that is easily my favorite match, and I've heard it from a few people that was the best they've ever seen me throw.
We watched it intently. Great match there, Aaron.
Thanks, Tim.
We heard the cheers.
Were you sure?
We were cheering him on.
They have a live stream back then or something? Inside joke. What's in your arsenal?
I have soft rolls. They're second generation. And I also have a set of Starlines. I've been using the soft rolls more so lately. I want to get consistency no matter what, no matter if I'm struggling or not, or throwing well. And it actually really helped the last year. The soft rolls, I was able to throw more consistently with them, I felt.
What shoes?
I have custom shoes. They are DCs. I've had them for about 4 years. Just a simple leather slider on the bottom and a regular rubber grip. And they are amazing for the feet. Way better than Dexters. I actually blew through 2 sets of Dexters in 3 years, and that's why I stopped buying Dexters.
Common trend. What's left on the bucket list?
I want to make Open Nationals as a single and have a chance at being part of the double gold club for singles. And I'd like to win Alberta again for Masters. And I want to get a second real tour win, not just a
we call this a web.com.
What's my Scottsdale one? Web.com tour. Yeah, that's right. I'd like to get a second real win and then possibly a third one day.
Yeah.
And
it's Corn Ferry now, but that's okay.
Finally, I actually have never bowled on a team with Weber or Carey before. So that would be that'd be good to knock that off.
Yeah, we never bowled together either.
Yeah, we have.
When?
Mixed team.
Oh yeah, we did.
Wow.
Hey,
thanks for chiming in, Timmy.
Junior over here.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Johnstone all over again. Hey, Johnny, you'll feel better.
Good afternoon, morning, Tim. If there was anybody past or present that you could have a challenge match against, who would it be and why?
Mark Jackson, because I only saw him throw once at TPC, and I believe that it was one of his last years. And I've heard so many stories about how good that he was, and unfortunately, I've never seen him play. So today, it would be great to play a match against him.
Yeah, he'd be a hell of a player. I don't think I ever played physically against him either.
1-0 against him.
1-0.
League doesn't count, Dexter.
Doesn't matter. It does to me. I was 15.
Now I know you've played plenty of events on the cash circuit, all that stuff. You've also been a board member for the Alberta Masters as well, so you've seen some of that side of it. What's our sport missing? What type of improvements can we still have within?
5 years ago, I thought that we were lacking. We were missing a gap. We didn't have the schools that we have at the tournaments now, before the weekend stuff that WCBT does. The live streaming is getting better, that's for sure, and having that is key. TV is the thing that would put it right back up there again, and it's not easy. Like there's multiple things that are like, we can't even get bowling on TV right now in the middle of a sports pandemic. So, but there are other ways. I mean, continue with growing the sport at the youth level as much as possible. Continue with the communication between all of the associations, which we do great out here in Alberta, but I know that other provinces have their problems with that. And if that can get mitigated and getting more younger groups onto boards as well, like that's good, because having the new generation in the boards will only help put the sport in the more present tense instead of 30, 40 years ago, right? Where ideas have changed, where the sport isn't the same today as it was back then. So we need more people, more younger people volunteering, contributing to the sport as much as they can, right? Because especially in Alberta, we have so many bowlers that go to nationals for free, and we're lucky that we have that. And I wish that more people gave back a little more than just here's my money for the elimination draw tickets. That would be just my 2 cents on that.
No, I like it. No, thank you for that. Now I usually have one last question for the guests, but I also kind of put it out there to the 5-pin universe. Just kind of put out some like humble brags, or just some kind of obscure personal achievements, and just kind of see what else is out there. So I'll ask you along with the rest of the guys afterwards. But I did have a chance to just kind of print off a few of some of the notable ones. There was lots of discussion on there. A ton from Brian Earl as well, but I just don't have time to read them all. So, but I've got about 15 here, just quick ones. But Brian Randall, what about being associated with YBC every year since the first year?
Yeah, his mom was involved with the creation of YBC, actually.
Wow.
Which is incredible.
Yeah, he's old as balls.
he's not a young sport. One I thought was really cool. Greg Pederitis has bowled in 710 different 5-pin bowling centers across Canada.
It's crazy to think there's that many.
Wow.
I mean, there probably isn't now.
But probably not now, but
that's amazing.
That's such a huge number.
Yeah. The only guy that probably would have been close to that would be like Terry Burns.
Yeah.
I don't know how many he ended up going through.
He did the 100 for sure, but
yeah.
I'm not sure how much traveling he did outside of coming and playing the Calcuttas from the NWT, right?
But every Open Nationals there ever was, really,
True.
while he was around, right? So he would have been probably not 700 worth, but like he would have had quite a few as well, for sure.
Yeah,
No,
that's a crazy number.
Yeah, that's crazy.
John Honeyford left 14 corners in a row once.
What? Oh my god!
And the only thing I've ever personally seen that was close to that, I saw Jen Marshall Smith now start a game with 10 corner spares in a row, and then threw a strike in 12 for 272.
Marty Bush did it once in Bonnie Doon too. He did an entire game of corners.
I bet Jen Smith was just loving that game.
Yeah.
I don't even think she was all that mad because she would just go up there, pick it, go get it, go pick it. It was at Shamrock Lanes in Airdrie, and I'm not sure. It kind of went through 2 cycles there where it was absolutely lights out, very similar to old school Paradise, or very tough when there was a lot of corners. So, but yeah, pick them all. Evan Lecousse throwing a strike without hitting the head pin first, which I'm assuming is probably Bonnie Doon.
Yeah, seen a few of those.
Take a 2-pin and probably do it. JB Rainsberger, his record for 1 ball is 20. He was playing free fall and put a pin over and took the right 3-2 on the other lane, which I've actually got one that's similar to that.
Me too.
Yeah, lane 10 at Toppler. I put a head pin over, broke the string, and took out 13 on the other lane at the same time.
On a string machine. That's awesome.
Yeah, snap the string. What do you have, Kerry?
Mine's lane 47 at Bonnie Doon. Put a pin over onto 46 and took out 10 on the other side.
Yeah,
25.
I've done 20 too at Collingwood. Knocked over the head pin. I threw a strike and the head pin fell over on the other lane.
It just fell over?
No, it flew over. It flew over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have to ask, Kathy, how many games is that you're talking about? 8 sets of aces. If that's one game, that is incredible. But I need to know what span that was over.
or how slow is that shot?
Yeah.
What are the two?
Wow.
Could have been 17-inch centers, so a slow ball. You see lots of aces there.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's lots. I kind of like this one, Sean Langlois, in their first year 5-pin, because I believe he came from candlepin circuit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe.
One game, Kathy?
Sorry.
Wow.
I hope you chugged a beer after that.
But with Sean, their first year 5-pin, they won a silver medal at the Open Nationals with his wife Kathy, which I thought was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Kite, first time another candle pinner. First time he picked up a 5-pin ball, he threw 16 strikes in a row over 2 games. Hasn't come close to that ever since.
Well, since that was funny though.
That's threw the pins twice in a row on a strike at TPC.
Just for reference for everyone,
That's
the
funny.
pins were very mildly offset, and he refused to reset it in between balls. So
that's funny because Larissa Long came in with almost identical with the backup curve at Nationals in 2009 for YBC. Ball went through the pins twice in a row on a double.
Yikes.
Don Carpenter, 2001 C5 Nationals rookie year, came off the bench in the 5th frame to clean up a head pin, then finished the game off with a 7-bagger to win his point by 2 as a rookie. Thought that was pretty cool. Scott Rice, Chris Hislop and I are the oh, Lenny?
No. I know which
Your
one you're
story.
talking about.
Scar Rice is funny though.
Yeah.
Chris Hislop and I are likely the only team to throw a team perfect game no tap at the TPC doubles and not make the cut. This one was good, and well, I guess thank God Mitch isn't on Facebook anymore, or I may not have actually seen any of these other ones with all his bragging. But Valerie Nebo, an exciting and embarrassing, beating Mitch Davies in the 10th frame at Open National, then having to ask my coach John Walsh if I had won. Then yelling to my contingents, I beat Mitch Davies, only turn around and see his teammates standing right beside me. So still a very proud moment.
So, long story short, they actually presented her with a plaque at the banquet.
That's awesome.
But hey, that's an honor to Mitch too. Honestly,
and you know what? And Mitch was really good about it, and he loved it, and he loved every minute of it. And she was really good about it. I think they took a photo together. It was really good. Yes, it was awesome.
Funny.
Oh, that's awesome. Tom Patterson, during a pot game after league, he was bowling against a gentleman by the name of Craig Vance, and they both shot 450 to tie in a cash pot game. Chris Bradford shooting a left split and a right split in the next frame and sparing both of them.
Crazy.
Which is unreal. And last one, Bailey Lawson once lost a local tournament in YBC because I picked a head pin and it bounced and stood back up on my third ball in the 10th frame.
That happened to me at a Four Steps Nationals in 2005 in the Dell when it was free fall too, and it cost us the match as well. It was against Newfoundland. I remember it vividly.
Wow.
I was very upset.
So I guess I'll open it up to you guys. Aaron first is the guest. What do you have for like a personal achievement, obscure, I don't know, moment in your career?
Well, not so much an achievement, but a very funny story now that I look back on it. A few years ago at the Open in Red Deer, on lane 13, I proceeded to force a rule change to the C5 rules. I believe it was the second frame on a strike, my first ball. I started to lose the grip on my backswing, and I re-gripped, and I gripped the ball too hard. It came through on my front swing and landed on lane 12, the opposite lane. So I turned around, ghost face. I ended up sitting on the edge chair at the end of the lane for about 5 minutes while the rest of the teams either cheered me, laughed at it, or tried to figure out if my ball actually counted because it never landed on my lane. So they had to deliberate with the Open organizers and figure out that it wasn't foul. It was a 0 count. I threw a 3-pin the next ball. I cleaned it up.
That's progress, though.
Yeah. Finished with a 296 to lose my match by 2 to Adam Kemp, I believe.
Yeah, I do want to make this aware. He was not bowling out of Edmonton. He was bowling out of North. So
yes, I was bowling out of North because I was alternate on the Edmonton team again. But that could be my obscure one. I've been alternate-ish a ton of times.
the Rob Wilson.
Yeah.
What about you, Kerry?
I don't think, probably people got a lot more obscure ones than I do. I know I've spared aces 10, 12 times, somewhere in there. Not in one tournament, across my career. One back-to-back WCBT tournament. I guess that'd be my humble brag.
Type of stuff I want to hear. Yes.
And I held the Masters scoring average for 1 year till Freddie came around and kicked my ass. So, that's my humble brag.
Back-to-back WCBT events is pretty impressive. Timmy?
I honestly, I really have no obscure facts except for the one I was sort of mentioning to you guys. I think Dex and I are the only really brothers that won a same tour championship. That's the only one I can think of. Right, I know it's going to be a matter of time before the Ticats win the same one, but at this point, Dex and I are the only ones that have won one. It was pretty cool to be on. I know Barry Ellert's a twin, so it was kind of cool. He put that on the Autumn Open plaque, which was kind of cool on that aspect. But as for other things, like obscure things, like I can't necessarily think of anything on top of my head like that. I mean,
it shouldn't be on top of your head. You've had days to figure this out.
Literally gave you a heads up and said, start thinking.
I can't think of anything right now. You had 3 days.
Tim, here's one. How many times have you told us while we're driving to a Masters tournament, just, guys, I'm not feeling it. I haven't been playing very good lately. I'm horrible at league. And then 2,500.
25, yeah.
Yeah.
I've only broken 2,500 once. So
Okay, so it's once.
2,400, yeah. Unless I'm playing Stetler. Stetler's not very good at scoring house, so.
Robert is clearly not watching. He hasn't commented yet.
Yeah, no, I guess I'm proud of the 4 singles championships out of Alberta, but I mean, other than there, I don't have any like crazy stats about like eight aces in a game or anything like that. I like nothing pops out of my head like that by any means. So,
are you the only WCBT champion who hasn't won on Sunday?
Oh yeah, I guess I am, Adam. I backdoor everything. Yes, that's. You're welcome.
Whoa!
Yeah. Don't need to get personal here.
Bowling after dark again, Kerry.
Yes, I'm the only one who won on a Wednesday. So, yeah, I guess I can say I did that. Yes, they screwed up the stats, and I found out I won on a Wednesday. Yeah,
most anticlimactic win ever.
It was a little weird. Yes, yeah.
Did he ever buy dinner after?
I did buy dinner. I came in second, and then I came in first. But when I came in second, I bought McDonald's for everybody. So it all worked out.
Did you buy the keg when you got your first place check?
No, because all my money came in separate denominations all at once. Because money came from this person, money came in from that person, and then I had to wait for my trophy and my shirt to come in from another person. So it was just a smorgasbord of everything. So it was just. Hey, Lenny, don't worry, I'll kiss you before, okay?
What about you, Dex?
I guess a couple obscure things. I don't know how many people have faced somebody 3 times in a championship win, so I think that's pretty cool with Johnny facing him 3 times when I won TPC. That was kind of neat. The other one that stands out for me is for a period of time at the Open, they had me listed at a 450 average because we were we bowled
one
it
game.
was in Newfoundland 2013. I came in off the bench. Tim was lead and he was trash, and I got put in after 6 frames. Yeah. And it was against Joel Mamcher, and Joel was pretty sure he had that match locked up. And then I struck out for the last 6 frames to finish it. First game, 450 average. After that, came back, won the match. Joel was really pissed off. Really, really pissed off. He was really upset. But that was kind of neat. There's a picture somewhere of it too. I think it was Matt McKillop actually that posted it. It was
no, Schaefer. I think it was Schaefer.
No, I'm pretty sure it was Matt. I'm pretty sure it was Matt McKillop.
He wasn't there.
I'm like 99% sure.
Yeah, it's a date, Lenny.
So that's kind of
wait, Mom might be on. Okay, I'll text you later.
Tim's $5 handies back at it.
But yeah, I think that's probably the most obscure thing I have, really.
And you, Adam?
I get a couple I'm really proud of. Like we talked about like the Double Crown and the Hall of Fame induction, which I thought was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I have the city high average in both Calgary and Edmonton.
Which one's recognized though?
Both, I believe. I'm sure they both have asterisks. I don't know. they're Paradise Bonnie Doon. So,
Adam, that's actually not too much to brag about. I have Edmonton too, and it was nothing. So,
and you have A5, and you have Alberta too.
Oh yeah, sure, I guess. I'm talking current, Kerry, current.
Oh yeah,
you have 3 then.
House, though.
Maybe. The one I think's really cool that nobody probably knows, and I'll probably put a target on my back. But I'm 13-0 on stepladder Saturday for singles at nationals.
That's huge.
So 4-0 at Masters and 9-0 at the Open.
That's crazy. That's really cool.
I don't feel so bad losing to you at the Alberta step ladder then.
Oh, I've lost that a few times, not many. Yeah, no, that was probably the really obscure, but now I'm sure I got a target. Like I didn't already.
Well, we're going to be reminding everybody when it happens, though.
Oh, exactly.
Where Adam said he's 13.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Isn't 13 an unlucky number?
No, not at all.
We don't know yet.
No. Who needs friends or who needs enemies when I got friends like you, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
We're here. Awesome. That's a good segment. I like that one. Hopefully Adam comes up with more. He seems to be the idea maker here on this podcast.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Watch out for next Monday or Tuesday. He'll make another post for podcast.
put him on the spot. Nope.
No, I've taken my one every, what's been about a quarter? Yeah, quarter year. I'll do one every 3 months.
Sounds about right. That's how we roll around here.
Pretty much. Hey, Dex, who's running Rulebook Corner now?
I was just gonna say we have a.
You're on video, Tim.
The answer is Tim.
Tim's the new.
Tim. Yeah, Tim is going to be the new Rulebook Corner guy.
Send in your question.
There's yeah, exactly. Apparently he's got the foot in the door to get things. So he's the guy. He is the guy for rules. So if you got rule questions, he's the guy. If you want them changed, he's the guy. Talk to Tim.
Hey Tim, when's that effective date?
Now.
Is it now or is it in the future?
I'm my best before was a long time ago. Yeah.
What?
Best.
I didn't say expiration date.
Yeah.
What's?
Ooh.
Oh, look what Gary said.
Post that.
Oh, out of nowhere.
Gary's still playing? I haven't seen him in a few years.
It depends how he's feeling.
It's going to be impossible to play him in a stepladder at a national event, though.
Hey, I took a buck off him at the Gallagher Cup last year. I finally beat him.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap this up. Aaron, thank you very much.
I got a legitimate question. Who's running Rulebook Corner?
I guess we'll see at the time, but I'm gonna have a feeling it'll still probably be me.
Literally right now.
Tim, it's Tim. Oh, the answer to that is no. There's no rule on it. I know the question. Here's the question, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
We had a little fun event recently, and the fun event was but do I just say it? It's fine. We'll build some hype. It was a.
You can build all the hype you want, but if it doesn't come out, then it looks like a fucking debacle.
First F-bomb up podcast goes to our fearless leader.
Cheers.
If you have a hard time editing it, I'll help you. I'll figure it out. Whatever. We'll get it out there. But we did a strike derby. So Carrie is anxiously waiting to get this out to you all. But we did a strike derby. So we played. I don't know if any of you guys watched the PBA stuff, but they've been doing some small, little fun events. And it's how many strikes you could throw in 2 minutes. And I'm telling you all, I did not. I mean, I realized, but it solidified how fat I really am. Trying to throw as many strikes as you can in 2 minutes is exhausting. Absolutely exhausting. But we're going as fast as we can. We're using lanes 14 and 15 in Sherwood and 13 if we had a tangle. But it was coming down the line, and some people threw some shots before the shield was all the way up. And I went through the rules, Adam, and you were there, and the answer is still no. There is no rule against it. Does it make you a dick? Maybe. In an event like that, no.
Protest. I probably could have, but I probably would have lost.
You looked up at the crowd or at the whatever the rulers and went giant P and played under protest and still lost. But
okay, so
there is no rule.
So the actual scenario is basically, can you throw a ball while the shield is still in motion?
Yes.
Even if the pins have set, does that change what the machine's doing with the strings until those are fully set?
I mean, at least with our machines, no. Once the machine pins down, the tension comes off the strings and they're okay. But in the rule book itself, there's nothing in there saying that. Is it frowned upon? In this event, you kind of have to do it. You're going as fast as you can. It is what it is. But in real life, if you do that, you might get some looks. But there's nothing saying in there.
The rule is a rule, so it doesn't matter when it happens, right? But like there
still is no rule, Adam.
I know.
Are you not listening?
That's what I mean.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Well, no. You gave two different scenarios where it might be frowned upon and not, right?
I said frowned. Well, you can't frown upon a guy throwing a ball when the thing was going up.
It's
when
Tim.
You're going as fast as you can. You can't.
What?
I mean,
what?
It's Tim. You can frown upon Tim all you want.
What I do? What I do?
Well, thanks for listening.
President, we need a ruling.
No.
Oh, well, I'd be more worried if it was legally delivered ball holding two balls in your hand. So,
there's no rule against that either.
Okay, all right.
What advantage?
Then nothing's wrong. Then nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. Whoever
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah. See,
Exactly.
Whoever threw those balls and beat that said person won squarely, okay?
And the thing is,
that's all I have to say. That's all I have to say.
And whoever no protest there whatsoever.
Listen, Adam. And whoever said bowler beat that other bowler only had 2 minutes of break time between playing said 2 other minutes before that. So
you're warm, is what you're saying. Must be nice.
I don't know who that.
We're losing the crowd here, guys. We're losing the crowd here.
No. We determined that was the ruling, but I guess take that a step further is, could there be a possible effect until that full cycle of the machine, with that ball hitting the pins before it fully cycles? Would that potentially change the physics of the game?
100%.
If the machine is not fully cycled, the pins themselves, the shielding unit can be whatever, but if the pins aren't cycled all the way, it could definitely do a change in pin reaction.
And then that's where with shields and shields bounce. It does mostly the pins bouncing off the shields and stuff like that, at least with our machines. But as for if we didn't have the shields there, it wouldn't make much difference because the tension is taken off as soon as the pins are down. So
because realistically in BC, without those shields there, you don't know if the pins are fully cycled, and then they're not certified, right? So it's kind of the same type of issue. Now that's the only reason why I bring it up. I don't really care about that ending of that thing. I really
that's
don't.
A load of shit. You're a liar.
No. Hey.
You were
rails have come off. We're swearing every time.
Did Timmy win it all? No, so it doesn't really matter.
Whoa, spoilers!
Yeah, man. Tim doesn't win anything. It's not a spoiler.
True.
Hey!
We've all seen his Masters Nationals performances.
Just let you know that nobody got hurt. Okay, nobody got hurt.
We were all hurting next day.
I don't know. That sniper got a couple people. So
very true.
Yeah. But anyways, it was a good time. Everybody had a good time.
Yeah.
And we had 8 of us. 7 people left happy. 1 person didn't. So it is what it is.
Oh man. Okay. So I did mention there's giveaways.
Oh, right.
But we're not going to do that during the episode. So what we're going to do, in the spirit of 5-Pin Universe and what we're doing with this thing, for everybody that shares this particular podcast will be entered into the raffle that will be drawn next week. And we are giving away 4 T-shirts from All Star Bowling Sales once again. We don't know if next week's podcast is a go for sure at the moment, but we'll let you guys know on the weekend. So once again, just remember, share this specific podcast on Facebook and you'll be entered into the raffle. I want to thank you again, Aaron, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, guys. That was fun.
Not every time you get a 2-time Masters National Singles champion on a podcast, so great to have you on. And
we get a 2-time silver medalist every time.
Yeah, we do. All right.
Thanks a lot,
Thanks,
Aaron.
guys.
Thanks, Aaron.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
See you, man.